Roll, camera, action. An F1 movie is in the works, and we couldn't be more excited. The sport is finally getting the recognition it deserves. Oh, and Brad Pitt will play the lead. Speaking of, he just snubbed an F1 legend on the grid. What? Yep, that happened, which is why we'll discuss it in today's video. So make sure to stay until the end to learn all about it. First up, Martin Brundle was grabbed after being snubbed by Brad Pitt. "Someone's grabbing a hold of me." Yep, that's exactly what Brundle said after he was grabbed trying to reach the famous movie star. The Formula One icon was grabbed on the starting grid at the United States Grand Prix after a truly mortifying moment. He's a legend, and his walks are iconic, but of course, it's Brundle. The former driver turned pundit lost none of his nerves after making global headlines at the USGP last year when Megan Thee Stallion brutally brushed him. Honestly guys, what's wrong with you all? He's just trying to ask questions. Like, okay, he can get tough at times. There's a reason he's called the TV assassin, and he was at his best again right afterward as he exchanged some lighthearted banter with Ed Sheeran and Green Day member Tre Cool. The point is, he's a great guy who's instrumental to the sport, and if Brad Pitt wants to make a solid F1 movie, he can't be out there shunning Brundle of all people. He's been in F1 since 1984. Moving on, what exactly happened? The popular commentator was conducting his traditional grid walk segment. This is where he walks along the starting grid, speaking to VIPs and celebrities in the last minutes before the start of the race. And while this grid walk of his is a famously awkward segment, it took a frosty turn on Sunday when Pitt pushed past him before a member of his entourage put a hand on Brundle's shoulder. Pitt successfully avoided the interview, answering just one of the many questions that Brundle asked. The pundit tried to chase the 58-year-old toward the front of the grid. He walked up to the star and asked, "Brad, Martin Brundle, Sky F1. How are you doing? Can you tell us a bit about this movie?" Pitt responded, "No, not yet. It's top secret." And then when Brundle told him he's seen the star so much this weekend, Pitt responded with, "Thank you, man," and that's it. That's when a hand was placed on his shoulder. When talking about the whole thing, Martin had a grin. Of course he did. And then he made a pun. Was it funny? Was it cringe? Well folks, that's for you to decide. When speaking to the TV audience, Brundle said, "Obviously they're known as pit stops if they don't want you talking to Brad Pitt. Honestly, we don't know why anyone would ever avoid that bloke. He's an absolute legend." Next up, did it go well with other celebs? So, after last year's clash between Brundle and Megan Thee Stallion, security was supposed to be limited on the grid. But fortunately, his other exchanges were more friendly, and they were enjoyable too. The best thing about the guy is his refusal to back down from awkward moments. Ed Sheeran stopped briefly to tell the Sky Sports guru he was excited to attend a Grand Prix and that he would support Red Bull. That's because he had just left the team's garage. Come on, Ed, you can do better. One of the best interactions was his interaction with Tre Cool, a member of the band Green Day. When Brundle walked up to him, his opening question was, "Is this going to be a boulevard of broken dreams? Seriously, Brad, how do you snub this guy?" And no, don't just take our word for it. Twitter users too are on Brundle's side. What's more, Twitter comes out to support Martin. Now, of course, for those of us who watch F1 as our lives depend on it, Martin is a very cherished man. So it comes as no surprise that Twitter came out to support the guy. And yes, many fans made statements, but the sheer amount of blue-checked accounts standing by his side was astonishing. Someone tweeted, "Brad Pitt just blew off Martin Brundle. What a massive jerk." Another user stated that they genuinely dislike celebrities who dismiss Martin on his grid walk. And while everyone was pissed at Pitt for shunning him, one bloke could find the silver lining. This user stated that the best thing about these grid walks is that even if Martin doesn't find anyone to talk to, just watching him bumble around is a real treat. Take notes, Brad. If you want to make a great F1 movie, you'll need to talk to Brundle. He has all the expertise you'll ever need. If you don't want F1 fans hating you, you better not do this to our favorite pundit again. With that out of the way, folks, let's talk about this upcoming movie. Are you all excited? If not, don't worry. You'll be desperately waiting for it to come out once you're done watching this video. First off, Brad Pitt's movie will shoot on F1 race weekends in 2023. Stefano Domenicali, CEO of Formula One, has confirmed that the new Brad Pitt movie based around the championship will start shooting on race weekends in the second half of 2023. This timeline suggests that November's inaugural Vegas GP will likely play a major role in the storyline. A few days ago, Brad Pitt, Joseph Kosinski, the director, and Jerry Bruckheimer, the producer, met with F1 team bosses in Austin to give them some idea of their plans. The filmmakers stressed they see their production as the racing equivalent to Top Gun Maverick, the movie made by the same producer and director. So yes, we can expect some thrilling in-the-cockpit footage. Domenicali confirmed that all teams and drivers will be involved and that the project will feature actual F1 cars and sponsors. How exciting is this? And while Netflix's Drive to Survive added a lot, and we mean a lot of fans to the sport, this movie is also expected to play an instrumental role in its rising popularity. After all, if Brad Pitt can't convince you to watch F1, then no one can. And that's exactly why the Italian CEO sees this film as the next logical step in building on the global success of the Netflix Netflix series. Now for Domenicali's comments on the matter. When talking to a major F1 publication, he stated that it's all serious stuff and that he's extremely excited. He feels this is another step in the sport's growth and will enable Formula One to be in another dimension. He feels motorsport is still quite underrated, that it still needs to be explored, and that this movie's the perfect way to make that happen. He also mentioned that we'll see many things happening next year to prepare for the movie and that everyone on the grid will be involved. We have to admit, while the sport's hyper-commercialization does concern us, we're still really excited because if the real F1 folks are involved, we'll get to see some real authenticity in the movie. Oh, and you know what would be great? A Lewis Hamilton cameo. Just imagine. According to the Italian, all the activity will be done on the real race weekend. That'll be quite interesting, yes, but we are concerned about how it might distract the teams from doing what they're here for, getting wins. He gave little to the movie because it's just the start of a plan. When asked whether the production will run their cars on the weekend, he stated that since the movie intends to be authentic, we'll see something going on the weekends. It's interesting how he and Brad Pitt speak in such a mysterious tone instead of just telling us what's going on. Finishing up, what we know about the movie so far. Brad Pitt and Stefano Domenicali may not want to tell us what's up. We'd never do this to our cherished viewers. This is why we've gathered as many speculations and rumors as possible to give you all an idea about what the movie will be based on. And folks, before we begin, remember, these are just rumors and speculations. So the film's plot is expected to revolve around a retired driver who returns to the F1 for one last battle, one last championship. Wait, Alonso, are they making a movie about you? No, Alonso's never retiring. But this old washed-up driver will also aid his younger teammate, guiding him through the world of F1 and helping him become a future world champion. If this is something that sounds familiar to you, then you've probably seen the pretty terrible 2001 film called Driven. But, well, this one is expected to be a massive hit, so the storyline will probably be a lot more interesting. So yeah, folks, you'll have to wait a bit, but we're sure you'll love the movie. And that's it from our side, folks. What are your thoughts on Brundle's walks? Oh, and also, let us know your thoughts on this upcoming movie in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. See you at the next one.